What's good, everyone? SloMo here with another video. Today I'm going to cover the XO19 event. It's going to be a brief overview of the parts of this event that I thought was most notable and some of my thoughts on it as well. Also be on the lookout for more videos on some of the games that were shown in this show. Notably, Tell Me Why by Don't Nod Entertainment, the developer for Life is Strange, and also Bleeding Edge by Ninja Theory and Wasteland 3 by NXL. I'm definitely going to do videos on those games, as well as some other games that were there that I might decide to do a video on. You'll see. But let's just get right into what you guys are wanting to hear. So XO19 debuted on Thursday, November 14th. This show was a disappointment to many fans who were looking forward to a bigger event than what they got. It's clear to me that Xbox Game Studios feels like their bigger titles, their AAA offerings, are going to be saved for E3. And the smaller AA titles and announcements of expansions, new services, all that stuff will be saved for XO. Now, I don't have a problem with this format. It's a solid format when you don't have a content problem, and they do have a content problem. So I think this would be a better idea to implement when you're a couple years further into developing games with these new studios that you've acquired and your reputation for your games have improved. It's good that new IPs were shown. That's great. What wasn't good was that these two new IPs appeared to be the kind of smaller projects that you would show in between or after you've shown bigger established IP. So let's touch on these two new IPs from Rare and Obsidian. The first one that was shown was Everwild, and Everwild is Rare's new IP, and it does look very nice. It has that same artistic aesthetic that Sea of Thieves has, but it's very clean. It looks good. I just have no idea what this game is about. I wish the trailer included some gameplay or somehow gave me an indication of what the gameplay would be like. I mean, they had a developer there who was talking about the game prior to the trailer being shown, so I wish at least she could have provided some of that information if that wasn't going to be readily apparent from the trailer. The second game shown was the Obsidian new IP called Grounded, and for me, Grounded was the bigger disappointment. I know this may sound similar to how people felt about Ninja Theory making Bleeding Edge, since this game is such a major departure from what we know Obsidian to do. Obsidian makes RPGs, role-playing games. This is clearly not that. But I think the major difference between Bleeding Edge and Grounded is Ninja Theory is developing a game that has a significant size demographic that has been very vocal and very supportive of games like Bleeding Edge. A great example is Overwatch. So we know that there's a market for these kind of games. I'm not sure what the target audience is for Grounded. To go from the Outer Worlds, an amazing RPG, to this, it's pretty difficult to take because it's not something anyone was expecting. This game is being developed by a team of 12 or 13 developers, which is probably also the smallest team Obsidian has. And their studio director did say that we'd be seeing other RPGs that the studio was working on from some of their other teams at a later date. But just from what we saw, it was very surprising and just not surprising in a good way. So moving on. Way too much time, I believe, was spent on some unknown kart racer called Kart Rider Drift. Never even heard this game before, but yeah, they spent way too much time on this. This game probably got about a good 12 minutes of time out of XO19. They spent more time on this one game than they spent on any of their actual first-party content. I mean, they actually had a trailer, they had a small interview with the developers, and then they had a couple of streamer actual competitive guys actually show up and do a head-to-head race with one another. It was just very confusing why this one little game got so much attention. Just weird. Anyway, Ninja Theory. Ninja Theory showed a trailer for Bleeding Edge, gave us a release date of March 24th, 2020. Pretty bold considering a lot of big games are coming out around that time, and also introduced a new fighter. I'll probably be doing a video that's more in depth on this a little bit later, definitely giving my impressions of this new fighter once I get a chance to try it out in the dojo, or whenever there is a live session that I can catch where I can play against other players. Next up was Tell Me Why, the game by Don't Nod Entertainment, and this game was very interesting to me because I am a fan of Don't Nod's games. I've liked Life is Strange seasons 1 and 2, and I think what was really interesting about this one is that it's being published by Xbox Game Studios. Most of Don't Nod's games have been published by Square Enix. I like their games, as I said, and the story and premise seems very, very intriguing. I know some were speculating that Xbox Game Studios has acquired Don't Nod, but if that were true, they would have made an announcement of that acquisition before showing off a game that they are funding. More than likely, Don't Nod is developing this game as a second party to Xbox Game Studios, which in itself is somewhat interesting because I felt that they were just not going to do second party development anymore, as they've been focusing on building up the first party so much. But when you look at some of the comments that Matt Booty said, it looks like they are transitioning away from the acquiring of so many studios. Not saying they won't acquire 1 or 2 more studios here and there, but it seems like now they're going to be focusing more on just supporting the studios that they have and getting the content out there that they need. That's not to also mention that Phil Spencer did mention that he wants to get a Japanese studio, that's something that they're focusing, whether they acquire one or they build one themselves. That looks like that is something that's going to be in the cards within the next year. But moving on, next was the xCloud beta, and as a part of the xCloud beta, I was glad to see that they added so many more games to the beta. I did a video of my impressions of the xCloud beta a few weeks ago, and at that time, there were only 4 games available. There was Gears 5, Halo Guardians, Sea of Thieves, and Killer Instinct. I wasn't really interested in playing any of those games, 2 of which I had already played through and uninstalled and had no interest to go back to, and the other 2 I just had no interest in playing, period. But now I can name at least 8 games I'd be willing to play through. And they got Darksiders 3 in there, Devil May Cry 5 is in there, Forza Horizon 4, Hellblade, Madden, Rad, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition, and World War Z. Those are just the ones I saw just going through the xCloud app on my phone and noticing, oh, that's there. Yeah, I'll definitely play that at some point. So I'll definitely be getting into playing the beta a bit more. I think it was a smart move of them to start adding some of these other games in there so that more of the beta testers can actually enjoy trying to beta test this for them. Another thing that was brought up was this partnership with EA, which was very surprising. EA is already added Madden, the latest Madden, it is there, and they said that they will be adding more games from EA in the future. That's pretty intriguing. I can see potentially something like maybe Anthem, Fallen Order, maybe Battlefield going in there. So we'll see what happens, but that was pretty cool. The announcement of xCloud going to Windows PC next year, that pretty much kills Google Stadia in my opinion. The xCloud beta already has more games available in it than Stadia does, and Stadia is launching in less than a week. It's mind-boggling. They're going to have so much more content than Stadia, and so much quicker, because they have a actual platform that already had games that people are going to be able to play, and they're not going to have to worry about buying a game on a whole new platform with a company that may or may not be fully invested in the gaming industry. I do believe the biggest difference when it comes to game streaming, and the one that will be the most have the most effect with xCloud versus Stadia, is that with xCloud there is no additional work developers need to do to get those games working in xCloud, where with Stadia devs have to put in additional work to have their games running on that platform. And in any case, if I am a developer or a publisher, I'm going to go with the company that has been doing this longer in Xbox, and the one where there's less work I need to do and I'm reaching a bigger audience. I think Stadia is in a lot of trouble. And finally, it was also a smart move for them to announce that Game Pass subscribers will have access to xCloud in 2020. That's a smart move, and I think xCloud, when it comes to the streaming wars of which platform is going to be the better for that, I think xCloud's in a good spot. So moving on, they did start talking about Game Pass and the games that are coming to Game Pass. So in regards to that, we got an announcement that Yakuza games, about 3 Yakuza games, all of the existing Final Fantasy games and maybe a couple more. I also heard the Final Fantasy 14, which is currently not on Xbox One, will be coming as well and will be arriving in Game Pass, as well as the remastered Kingdom Hearts games that came out prior to Kingdom Hearts 3. All this is going to Game Pass next year. I don't feel the need to bring up that these are older games, have appeared already on other platforms. There are gamers who haven't played them before because they're either really old games and that some of these gamers just weren't even gaming when they first released, or some gamers may not have had those other platforms to play them on. So I'm not going to fault Xbox for getting quality content. That is exactly what this is. This is quality content that they're adding into their service that they care about the most. Halo Reach was announced to be releasing on December 3rd. I think this is going to be huge. Apparently pre-orders for Steam were popping pretty good when that was announced. I do wonder how many of the gamers interested in this game will be picking it up on Steam, really, but I definitely going to be playing it on PC Game Pass. And if you haven't seen it, for us PC gamers, this is the recommended specs and minimum hardware needed to run the game. It's pretty reasonable, even if you don't even have to have a super high-end PC to run this game pretty good. So I'm looking forward to it, and we're definitely going to see how this goes. I may put up some videos on my gameplay on it in the future. Next up was Age of Empires 4, which looked amazing. That was announced with the announcement of a brand new studio that they have developed, have created, called World's Edge, being headed up by Shannon Loftus. This new studio has been known for a few months now, so the announcement of World's Edge be strictly a Age of Empire studio is not as big of an announcement as Obsidian and In Exile were from last year. They also shadow launched the Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition as the same day, so that's out there. It's available on Game Pass of Xbox and PC if you're willing to do that. They also announced that Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition is available now. I'm not sure if that's on Xbox. It's definitely on PC. Give it a shot if you are interested. Also, they went into Crossfire X, which is a very popular Korean first-person shooter. It has been given a visual facelift for its Western Hemisphere release, and also is having Remedy Entertainment developing a single-player campaign for this game. Now the overall developer is Smilegate Entertainment. They are the main developer for Crossfire X. I do believe getting Remedy in, who is known to be a very strong storyteller and have games with very strong narratives, is a very smart move for Smilegate. Seeing Remedy involved makes me more interested in this title than I previously was. Remedy is known for crafting interesting stories, and seeing them take on a game that has very different archetypes and the kind of characters has caught my interest, as I like to also see what they are capable of crafting in a narrative that doesn't have any science fiction elements. So that's going to be interesting to see in the future. And then also we got further look at Wasteland 3, which looks like the kind of game that's right down my alley. I like strategy RPGs. That's my thing. My game of the year this year is Fire Emblem Three Houses. So this will be a big release for them next year. And again, I'll reiterate that I was not too enthused with this show overall. It has some strong points. Game Pass, xCloud, Age of Empires 4, Wasteland 3, very good strong points. The content going into Game Pass and xCloud, very strong points. But there are parts that fell flat. The 2 new IP that they showed fell flat. That those were not shown well. And I don't think they should have been shown at this time. But I understand this is the format that they're going with. Again, this format of saving your smaller titles for XO and the bigger ones for E3, it's fine when you already have the content and their reputation of delivering quality content. That is something they haven't earned yet in the gaming community. And so, without having earned that yet, I feel this format is somewhat premature in this implementation. You guys let me know how you felt about XO19. Were you excited about what you saw? Were you disappointed? Let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you liked the video. Hit the dislike button if you disliked the video. It's all good. And look out for future videos on some of the games shown in this event. Peace.